Hello and welcome to my ePortfolio tour. My name is Rachel Kim, a grade 10 student from Handsworth Secondary School. Today I'll be giving a short tour on my WordPress ePortfolio, share some of my best projects, explain changes I made on my ePortfolio throughout the year, and my overall opinion on Planning 10 online course. Let's start with my ePortfolio tour. If you type www.rachelkimhsswordpress.com, you will be led to the homepage of my ePortfolio. The homepage greets with one of my favorite and a motivational quote by Walt Disney: "If you can dream it, you can do it." Below that is a brief explanation of me and my expectations for planning online. I also included an image from Disney Movie app just to remind myself about the creativity and imagination I can have. Let's go to the About Me section. For Unit 1, I got to reflect upon myself, know myself better, and vision my future careers. With these new information about me, I created a PowerPoint called All About Me. In this PowerPoint, I included my top 4 intelligence, my 3 lower intelligence, my best learning styles, 4 colors that represent me, my hobbies, role models, and my top 5 goals. I also included images that represent me, along with a Wordle image that sums up myself. Another project for Unit 1 was TypeFocus results. I had a chance to learn about my personality, my interests, values, and success factors. These results were very beneficial to me as I got to learn a new side of myself that I didn't know of, and it helped me understand myself better. I included screenshots of my actual results for some visualization. Moving on to Unit 2, I wrote a journal answering 5 different questions after watching the movie Pursuit of Happiness. This movie taught me true meaning about happiness in life and made me think about my own happiness and how I pursue them. As Unit 2 focused on planning for jobs and careers, my first project on Unit 2 was finding a job and writing a cover letter and a resume. I found a job opening for a part-time job at 4 Cats Art Studio. I included a link to the job opening site, and below that I included a Word document of my cover letter and resume I wrote according to this job. The cover letter and resume are updated as I got an advice to make it shorter and include more details. This was a helpful project and a good practice for me, since writing cover letter and resume are critical when getting a job. I also did a career research on a job that interested me from my TypeFocus result. The job that stood out for me was Human Resources Manager, and I decided to take a deeper look into that career. I created an informative video about Human Resources Manager using Powtoon, which is linked below. This was one of my best projects, as I never used Powtoon before, and I was able to include a lot of information along with nice visual representation. Here's an example of how my informative video for Human Resources Manager looked like. Unit 3 was all about finance and post-secondary planning. To work on my finance and budgeting, one of my projects was planning for spring break travel budget. I decided to go on an imaginary trip to Los Angeles with my friends during spring break and made a presentation on how I would budget for my trip. I also included a slide about my plans for saving the money, as I got a comment that I should be more detailed in that area. Second project for Unit 3 was one of the most important projects in planning. It was university program research, where I had to research and find a program at a post-secondary institute and find the details such as admission requirements. I chose psychology program at University of Toronto as it was always an area of interest for me. This is an updated version of my page since our psychology course would help me go into law school, but my opinion on my future path slightly changed, which I will explain later. I linked Microsoft PowerPoint below. In Unit 4, I studied about healthy living and relationships. One project that focused on healthy living was about fad diet. I specifically chose raw food diets and how it impacts them positively and negatively, especially for youth. I worked on this project using a presentation called Haiku Deck. I'm especially satisfied with this project as Haiku Deck required a lot of slides and effort, unlike other presentations where I could put a lot of information in one slide. Although it was time-consuming, the results were satisfactory. Here's a link that leads you to my Haiku Deck presentation. Going on to my second project. My second project was about mental health. I chose anxiety as my mental illness to study about. Personally, I feel anxious really easily in various situations, so it was helpful for me to learn more about anxiety and how I can deal with it. I used Google Slides for this presentation. Last but not least, Unit 5, which I considered the most important unit, was about graduation planning. Graduation will be one of the biggest goals for a secondary student, and I worked on secondary school graduation project. I used a program called Grad Planner and Draw.io to plan the courses I might take in grade 11 and 12, and whether I can graduate with 80 credits or not. Fortunately, I had enough credits to graduate, and by taking the courses I was interested in. This is a screenshot about my plan using Grad Planner. This is a more detailed version that I created with Draw.io. This leads us to the final conclusion of my e-portfolio and reflection. First of all, it was both enjoyable and a challenge to create e-portfolio. Although I struggled setting up the portfolio in the beginning, I got to enjoy the process of creating my projects online and posting it on my own blog. Throughout the course, I got to use different online tools such as Word document, PowerPoint, screenshots, Prezi, Haiku Deck, Draw.io, and others. I made some changes on my projects and my weblog, but the most change is found in myself. The biggest change I see would be about my future career. As I explained before the planning course, I was only focused on one career of law. However, throughout the course, I learned I was capable of other careers too, and would like to look more into them. My three main paths are law, business, and engineering currently. This change surprised me because I thought I had my life planned in one and only way. I am glad to discover other potentials in me through Planning 10 Online, and I'm excited to see what my future has to offer next. Well, that's the end of my portfolio tour and reflection for Planning 10 Online. My name was Rachel Kim, and thank you for joining me today.